As soon as I get done filming this video, I'm going to be on my way to Topeka, Kansas. So I'm actually going to ask for helping me out because I don't want to be crazy on my 8-hour car drive. So if you guys could, give me a follow on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm going to be doing an IG live tonight at some point. Plus, I'm going to be answering a whole bunch of questions. So help me, help you. Give me a follow on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365.
So no matter the location, from OAKLA to LB, I'm a Raider.
Raiders news and rumors coming at you here on the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, ready to break it all down for you. But before I do, today's show is by one of my favorite sponsors, Manscaped. If there is a company that represents me as a human being more, I don't know if there is one out there, but I absolutely love these guys. Head on over to manscaped.com/Raiders. You guys can save 20% off and get free shipping on the best male grooming products. Davante Adams, we're talking about him on the Raiders Report. It's probably been the top story over the last week. For those of you that maybe don't know, maybe live underneath a rock, Derek Carr earlier in the week was basically saying like, hey, I would do whatever it takes to get Davante Adams, my old buddy, back on the Las Vegas Raiders. So Carr and Adams, they played together at Fresno State, for those of you that don't know. Adams is going to be a free agent in 2022, and in terms of Carr recruiting him, he absolutely should. This guy's an absolute freak of nature. Over 115 grabs last season, 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns in only 14 games. So in terms of, does it make sense to get Adams? It does, maybe if Ruggs and Edwards struggle, but if you just want to get yourself a slam dunk type of player, hey, this is what we're here to talk about. But I also wanted to keep you guys up to date on what Adams had to say today. So here are his numbers over the last 5 seasons. Anytime you have an opportunity to get a player that's put up these type of numbers, as I do my Vanna White impression here, you got to go ahead and think about it, right? And the reason why Raider Nation is making such a big deal about it is not only is Derek Carr hyping up the idea of trying to get those two together, so is Davante Adams. So here's what Adams had to say when he heard that Derek is basically going to put a full court press on trying to get him to the Raiders. Adams responded, "It would be a dream to play with Derek Carr again." Now, he seems excited that he wants to play with his old teammate. I'll also give him some credit in terms of saying, hey, I'm still a Green Bay Packer. We'll see what happens. I'm still, motivated and just playing with the team I'm currently on. But overall, I like the fact that Adams is open to the idea of playing with Derek Carr. And if Derek Carr says that the only team he's ever going to play with ever is the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited. So here's what Davante Adams had to say on playing with Carr. "I'll just continue to be me and just let this thing kind of work itself out and see what happens. Obviously, I love Derek to death. We've got a great friendship, and we still communicate really, really consistently. He's one of my best friends. Obviously, it would be a dream to be able to play with him, but I'm a Packer now. Until that point, when we make that decision, I guess we just got to go. We'll see what happens." So I don't know about y'all, but Davante Adams is open to it. Derek Carr wants it to happen. I want it to happen. Raider Nation wants it to happen. So will he finally be in silver and black? It still remains to be seen. But something that's never going to go away is their close bond. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, there's going to be so many stories that come out around Davante Adams being a Raider in 2022. It's not going to happen this year because they're not going to go ahead and trade for him. They would just go ahead and wait. But the fact that Adams and Carr, they're really close friends, that's a good thing on him being a Raider. Carr is the one who started calling him Tay, which Davante ends up saying is hey, that's my nickname. I don't know about y'all. If you go by a name and somebody calls you that, you're probably pretty good friends. And then Adams, always loved their chemistry at Fresno State. He literally said in one of his quotes was Derek and I would set up at the line of scrimmage, and I literally knew what play he was going to do or the formation just by the way he would look at me. That's the type of chemistry that I'm talking about here. So the Raiders, for anybody out there is oh, it's never going to happen, you're not going to get Davante Adams, the Raiders and John Green have been looking for a wide receiver one. If Ruggs and Edwards don't pan out, if John Brown's a bad experiment, you're going to see, again, the Raiders looking for a true number one receiver. But again, here's something else that I'd like to go back to. Taking old Packers receivers and turning them into Raiders receivers. First one that comes to my mind is James Jones. So back in 2013, Jones was a Packer, and then became a Las Vegas, or I guess I should say the Oakland Raiders. But from terms of targets, yards, I don't know about y'all. I see 666 on the board, and I start to panic, especially with 6 touchdowns. You know what, Jack? Get that off screen. I'm not trying to lose my show. Jordy Nelson in 2017, 2018. He had a solid Green Bay Packer coming off a pretty down year, had some injuries. Then the Raiders gave him a good opportunity. and then he ended up finishing his career with Raiders. So basically, James Jones, Jordy Nelson, why not Davante Adams be next? So try to predict this for me. Look into your crystal ball. Will Davante Adams be a Raider in 2022? I want you to scroll on down, type Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. Speaking of those crystal balls, if they don't look nice, then you need to start using some Manscaped products. I use Manscaped literally every single day. I have a blade that I change for my face, and then I have a blade that I use for my downstairs. How awesome is this blade? You can literally use it every single day. You're never going to cut yourself. I've even shaved my face live on a Raiders Report. That's how well this thing works. Usually, it's $89.99, but with our deal at manscaped.com/Raiders, you're going to get it for $71.99. They just launched the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got an awesome, sleek look. You can use it in the shower. It's waterproof. And probably one of my favorite two things about it, there's a light on the edge of it. So, like, when you're in those hard-to-reach places and, you know what I mean, you got your leg up here, you're shaving underneath, you're doing all this crazy stuff, you're going to be able to see where you're going. It's called the black hole for a reason, right? But the other thing that I love is you can see right here the lights, and I'm kind of getting cut off. It's a charge. It tells you how much battery life you have. Has anybody ever used anything and you're halfway done using it and you're like, wait a minute, only half of my face is shaved, and then all of a sudden the battery's dead? That's not going to happen. And if it does, that's a you problem. So head on over to manscaped.com/Raiders. Free shipping, 20% off on the best male grooming products. Raiders Report here talking about Cory Littleton, and is he going to have a new role entering the 2021 season? So there was a fun little report out there that the Raiders could actually move him to outside linebacker and put him even as an edge. I don't mean him as like an edge rusher like a Gakwe or Crosby, but putting him on the outside to set the edge. Gus Bradley loves his versatility, and it's one of the reasons why I loved his versatility when the Raiders signed him to a 3-year, $36 million deal. Now, you can look at this two ways. If it's not broken, don't fix it. That's way one, right? And last season, he did not play well. The other thing you can look at is, okay, the versatility is there. Maybe you could get a little bit more out of Cory Littleton because he is a great coverage linebacker and he is a good edge setter. So here's what Gus Bradley had to say on Littleton, and essentially this is where this whole rumor stems from. I've been impressed with his speed. He's a very skilled linebacker. One of the things is his physical nature that's the thing we're looking at right now and challenging him on. He has it in him. What I think's great about Cory is the matchup he allows us to have. He's really skilled covering guys. I think the other thing that we see with him is he's a really good edge setter. I think he has the ability to be more of an outside linebacker for us. Now, the issue that I have with this is Littleton, he played weak side linebacker last year. Not that that's like the outside linebacker position for a Raiders team, but he wasn't really the middle linebacking either. But I get the idea of being able to move him around. The other thing that does scare me, though, is if you're already trying to change him, maybe it's bad news for the Raiders going out and getting Cory Littleton. So let me know, what's your one-word reaction to Cory Littleton playing outside linebacker? He played weak side last season, which is technically the outside position in the system last year. But with the Gus Bradley system, it could look a little bit different here. So if they decided to kick him out pretty far, you could even see maybe 4 linebackers starting at one time. Let me know your one-word reaction to that. So here's what the Raiders linebacking depth chart looks like right now. You know Littleton's going to start. You know Quitt's going to start. And Nicholas Morrow. But one of the things that I wanted to be able to show you all on today's look is potentially a different front or a different set that the Raiders could run out there because Gruden wants versatility. Bradley's going to want some versatile players as well. And what happens if the Raiders decide to go with, let's say, a 3-4 front, right? They want to get some more of these skill possession players out on the field. You could line maybe Gakwe up as an outside stand-up edge rusher. If you want to kick Littleton out there as well, that could be an opportunity. How can you get both Clee and Max Crosby on the field? A 3-4 front usually isn't what Gus Bradley does. However, there's a lot of talented players out there on the field, so don't be shocked if you do see it. If the Raiders decide to go with the 3-4 front and want to have 4 linebackers out there, I could see something like Cory Littleton, Nick Wachowski, and Nicholas Morrow playing the middle. There's been multiple reports out there that you could see Morrow playing on the inside linebacking role more with Nick Wachowski. And then have Divine Diablo, who can line up as a safety. He can also line up all over the football field. I know he's been a little bit banged up, but there's a lot of talent here in this linebacking room. The other reason why I wanted to go ahead and bring this whole story up about Cory Littleton is because not enough people are talking about Darron Lee. Darron Lee was signed literally like 2 weeks ago on the Las Vegas Raiders, and nobody really talked about it, and I'm partly guilty of that. I had a trip that I had to go to, and unfortunately, right when my flight was taking off, the Raiders signed Darron Lee. But the reason why I want to be able to bring this up is because Lee's going to play middle linebacker on whatever team that he's on. And if you have an opportunity to make the roster, somebody close to me, close to the Raiders, has said that Lee's going to make this team. And I actually trust him, but I still have a hard time figure out where exactly he's going to play. Let's just say the Raiders' plan is for Lee to make this team and be a middle linebacker. That could actually mean that a guy like Cory Littleton ends up getting kicked out to the outside linebacking position. So it's crystal ball time here. Will Lee make the 53-man roster? If you're like, you know what, Mitch? This kid's going to make the team. I want you to type R for roster. If you don't think he's going to make it, I want you to type C for cut. So I don't get cut off the Raiders report. I need you guys to go ahead and smash that sub button. News, rumors, and live shows. If breaking news happens, we're going to be live. I also go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. I would like you guys to join my live shows. They help me out a lot. So hit that big red button that says subscribe. Raiders trade rumors. It's been a while since we had some crazy trade rumors on the show. One of my jobs here at Chat Sports is to be able to find news, rumors, or crazy articles out there and give you guys my 2 cents on it. Here's an article that I found from Sportskeeda on the Raiders trading for Leighton Vander Esch. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Zero Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. But I've been asked by enough people where I was like, all right, man, I guess I finally have to do this show. But Leighton Vander Esch was drafted in round 1 back in 2018. The Cowboys, they have already declined his 5th-year option. He was a very talented player in 2018, has dealt with some injuries, and even had a neck injury back at his time with Boise State. The other reason, though, why Sportskeeda thinks that this makes some sense is because in 2018, Rod Marinelli was the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, ended up drafting Vander Esch out of Boise State in that first round, and we also know that, well, the Raiders, for whatever reason, the past few years, they've gone out, they've seen Cowboys players, and they ended up bringing them in free agency. So here's what Sportskeeda, whoever the hell they are, decided on why it made sense for LVE to go to LV. The Dallas Cowboys rejected the option to pick up Leighton Vander Esch's 5th year. Vander Esch has had one good season for the Cowboys since being drafted. Las Vegas needs a lot of depth on defense and can receive Vander Esch for a reasonable price. Dallas receives more draft capital help towards rebuilding its defense. It's a win for both the Raiders and the Cowboys. Las Vegas gets a former NFL All-Rookie team selection and a linebacker that is still young. So here's the idea that Sportskeeda ended up coming up with. The Raiders, they get Leighton Vander Esch, LVE is his nickname, it's just easier to say. The Dallas Cowboys, they get a 2022 4th-round pick. What I'm going to do is give you guys my personal opinion, who I think wins this trade. But before I do, I want to know from y'all. So I want you to type LV if you think the Raiders win this trade. Or I want you to type DAL if you think it's the Dallas Cowboys. If you think both sides win, please go down to the comment section and type both. In terms of who won that deal, it's the Cowboys. And I actually don't even really know if it's all that close. Because I talked to Tom Downey. He runs our Cowboys Report channel. And let's face it, he literally told me, he's like, I'll take a day 3 pick, 5th, maybe a 6th-round pick for Vander Esch. Not that he doesn't think that he's talented. It's the injuries that really starting to scare the hell out of him. So in terms of trading for him, no. Said it earlier, don't think it makes any sense here. It's zero chalky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. But the other reason why I don't want to go ahead and do it is we've seen all these players from the Cowboys. Like, I'm kind of done bringing old Cowboys players on the Raiders team. David Irving, didn't work out. I like Jeff Heath, but they've already decided to move on from him. So all I'm trying to do, even Malik Collins, that was an absolute disaster. Let's go find other players. How about that? Because it's not like the Cowboys defense has been good, right? So here's what he's done over the last 3 years. And in terms of, like, looking at 2018, when he was coming out in 2018, 140 tackles, he was howling at the moon. He looked like one of the best linebackers and like he was going to be one of the best linebackers in all of football. But the injuries, man, and you hate to see it simply to any player, but especially when you're dealing with a neck injury, it's kind of scary stuff. He missed 7 games in 2019, missed 6 games in 2020, 13 total games in his 3-year career. But it's not only that, even the games that he's out there, he's just not the same player. But for the, I guess, Sportskeeda to say that this would be a win-win for both sides, I don't know about y'all. I'm actually pretty damn confident in this Raiders linebacking unit. I mean, for the first time in a long time, there's 6 players on screen right now. I might even go ahead and say 7 that would make a lot of rosters. Littleton, Kwiatkowski, Morrow, that's really solid there. Diablo's a good player. Muse is a good special teams player. Javen White's got some talent in him. Darron Lee's also got some talent in him as well. So, like, in terms of going out and adding another linebacker, sorry, I just don't really think that makes a lot of sense. So here's our linebacking unit. What's your confidence level on that? Because when I saw this trade, the only way I'm pulling off a trade and giving it a 4th-round pick is if Sportskeeda, whoever the heck they are, doesn't have any confidence whatsoever in the Raiders' linebacking room, which then I would encourage them to wake the heck up. Let me know. 1 is like you're not confident in the room at all. 10 is like you're very, very confident. I'm probably at a solid 8, giggity, simply because, like, when you look at from top to bottom, the experience, the versatility in that room, it's very impressive. If you want to go ahead and disagree with me, you can. That's what the Raiders Report is all about.